Good afternoon in the UK, good afternoon in Europe, good morning in the USA, the Americas, and I guess good late evening to those of you in Australia. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the Apteco freshly shipped Spring 2026 webinar, a new name for our Q2 webinar to better reflect what we cover in the webinar discussions. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm James Alty, founder and managing director of Apteco, and very pleased to be able to present the work of the Apteco team over the last quarter during the spring period. And we encourage engagement and interaction during this session, but because there are people from different businesses online, we keep your mics muted, and so please ask any questions via the Q&A panel. I have Melanie Davis, our marketing manager, team leader, online as well. She will coordinate answering any questions that come in during the webinar, and if we can't get an answer for you during the webinar, we will get you that answer afterwards, and we'll come back to you. We're going to cover a number of different areas. We'll look a little at new capabilities in Orin, our generative AI chat assistant built into Orbit, our marketing platform, and we'll talk about his new multilingual capabilities, and I'll demonstrate some of the new powerful audience selection creation facilities, making better use of the exclude panel and better use of the dynamic date rules that our platform supports. We'll also, and in fact, we'll start with looking at new capabilities in the sort of infrastructure of the Apteco marketing platform, where we'll look at multi-factor authentication. I'll go up and down that a bit. We'll also just mention CVCRM, a new data source that we've integrated. We'll look at some new analytics capabilities and new filter creation capabilities. Some of you will have used these already, but I just want to make sure I can explain exactly what we're doing and how they're working, so it's easy for you to talk about and use, and we'll touch on some of the new capabilities in the campaign area. So a broad spread, and in fact I've changed my demo sequence around since we wrote that slide, so it's not quite in that order, but it's all of those topics. Remember, you can always learn about what's new at Apteco by visiting the What's New page. We will distribute a PDF copy of these slides with all the links active, so you can readily explore what's new by clicking the link in the PDF that we will distribute. And in fact, we've uploaded to the webinar platform, but I don't know if you can see that given we've got chat turned off. So if you can't see it now, we'll send it you by email in any case. So we maintain that on apteco.com. And incidentally, if you haven't visited apteco.com recently, please can I commend you to do so. There's a whole new presentation on the homepage regarding our positioning of the Apteco marketing platform as a CRM marketing companion, making your CRM system work as hard for marketing as it does for sales. And you can find different positioning of the Apteco platform for those with a CRM system they're happy with, those who want to source data from elsewhere, and specifically for charities, where you can experiment with our new Instant Insights service. Rather than buying a software license, you can now use a service based on the Apteco technology to understand patterns in your donation history. You give us 3 previously saved data fields, donor ID, donation date, and donation value, and you can hash the donor ID if you wish, so that we can't ever return it, or you can keep it plain, in which case you can use extracts of it and activate those extracts, those cohorts from the Instant Insights service. So have a look on apteco.com on the homepage to see some of that new presentation. Remember, you can always get practical guidance. This document includes a lot of links to Help Hub resources. Reese Vaughan, our technical author, is working on Help Hub 40 hours a week, every week, moving it forward. And in fact, we've got another new generation of help coming through to make it even easier to use, to search, to find the articles that matter to you. And remember, you can access at any time our on-demand training courses. People used to come to our office in Warwick and sit in our training centre, and we've repurposed that centre as a workshop room now because actually we provision our training for on-demand use online, streamed on the Vimeo platform, and you can undertake self-directed, self-timetabled learning. You get a 30-day period in which to complete any course that you license from Apteco. There's also free of charge content on there. And as you can see, coming soon, we have a course covering Apteco email and all the techniques around templates in the email. So already for Orbit, you can see how to use Connect to pull in data into the Apteco marketing platform. You can use the Dashboards and Audiences course to learn about fundamentals of visualization, analytics, and filtering, for example. You can use the Campaigns course to learn about our wonderful multi-stage, multi-channel, multi-user, scheduled and triggered campaign platform with beautiful campaign journeys. And you can also study the FastStats advanced course if you wish online in order to build up your FastStats capabilities. And coming soon, we have certification for people who complete the course. So if you want to post on LinkedIn that you're now a certified advanced FastStats user, for example, come talk to our training team, complete the course, complete the certification, and if you pass, then you can be a certified user, and we'll give you a certificate that you can share and keep with your CV, for example. We're even actually looking at the moment whether we can qualify for continuing professional development credits from Apteco course material, and our training team will keep you in touch with that if you're interested. So a few bits to do with getting data into Apteco. You may recall that in the Orbit marketing platform, in the web UI, we have the Connect capability, which allows you to pull data from a wide variety of sources. In fact, there they are. What a wide variety of sources you can now use. And the new one, conveniently shown right at the top of that list, is Civi CRM. It's a public domain CRM platform widely used in the non-profit charity sector, particularly in North America, although we've also encountered it in the DACH market, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, where it's used for holding supporter, event, and volunteer type data, donation type data. So if you are a client who uses Civi CRM, or you're a partner who has clients who use it, or who are looking for a CRM system to integrate with Apteco, Civi CRM is a great choice. Very flexible data model, and our integration connects directly and native through the Civi CRM API, but also gives expert users the opportunity to customize joins between the tables in Civi CRM and to filter appropriately, and therefore to present a different view of the data than Civi's native data model. Civi's native data model is a shared single central entity table that holds all sorts of different types of data, then with qualifying relationships between those entities. And our integration allows you to extract, for example, all the households separate from all the people, separate from all the donations, separate from the volunteers, separate from the events. Although they're stored in Civi in a single central physical structure, we can pull out the logical representation of those and present it beautifully in the Apteco platform. If you wish, cast your eye down the list. It's been growing since we created Connect, and we now support a lot of high-scale cloud-connected data stores. So if you've got data in Snowflake, or a client with data in Snowflake, you can pull that data in through the Connect platform. And we will continue adding to that list. We have another not-for-profit platform that we're looking at and contemplating adding to the list next. Those of you of a technical nature may also be interested in a set of PowerShell scripts that we've now provided in a public GitHub repository to show how you can use our API. And that is useful for those of you, perhaps partners running multiple systems who want to take an action on multiple systems in a script rather than manual repetitive work. So there are different types of function in there. You know, might be copying a dashboard, might be updating a set of users, might be updating tiles in the dashboard, for example. You can do that under script control rather than manually. So these are examples. They're not a formal part of the Apteco marketing platform. They are examples for you to use to edit and to customize for the purposes that you need to undertake. But they are great worked examples that you can learn from to see how powerful the Apteco API is for the sort of tasks that I've just talked about. So, well, you can see in the text actually dashboard themes and authentication and defining references for your variables in Connect, all those sort of things you can undertake with scripts. We may from time to time add further examples if particular topics come to the fore, but you'll be able to do a lot if you're a coder by learning from the examples we've posted there. Actually, I see we haven't provided a link on the document, but there was an email in our release notes email. We sent that out, I think 2 sprints ago. So look back at your emails, you'll find a link to the repository. Now, one of the things I'm going to demonstrate today is multi-factor authentication. You probably know that for many cybersecurity standards, multi-factor authentication is required, and we've now added it to the Apteco platform, specifically to Orbit, FastStats, to PeopleStage, and to Excelsior. There are still people using Excelsior, and it's a fully fledged multi-factor 2-part process with one-time codes and recovery codes, which I'm going to show you, one-time passwords and recovery codes, fully compatible with the normal authenticator platforms, whether you want to use Microsoft's authenticator, Google's authenticator, 1Password, or your own particular choice. It's all compatible. So we'll show you that. I will show you that in a moment. And it ensures that your precious marketing data, whether it's about supporters or customers, all of your transactional data, your comms history, all of that is kept safe in the Apteco platform. And even if your password is breached somehow, the potential attackers cannot gain entry because they do not have the second factor authentication that's performed with your phone or recovery codes. I guess the advice is don't write your system name on the top of a sheet of paper and pin it on your office wall with your recovery codes, because anyone could use those. Keep those safe. Mostly you'll just use your digital device. So I'll demo that in a minute. If I'll demo it right now, how about that? So let's just swap over to Orbit. This is our demo system running in the Apteco cloud, and just before we started I turned off the multi-factor authentication that I previously had on. So right now just entering my username and password, we log in, and I'm presented because the system has detected that the Q2 or spring release of the server software is in place, and we're on a new enough version of Orbit which will have auto updated anyway. I can now be presented with a chance to enable 2-step authentication. If I choose to not do that now, I'll get a reminder in 30 days and every 30 days thereafter, unless my administrator steps in and says we really don't want that facility. So by default, we're trying to encourage users to sign up. So I will choose to enable it. And at this point, I need my telephone, standard iPhone, and I'm going to point my camera at that QR code on the screen, and all being well, in fact, I'm going to run the authenticator, not just a camera. Come on, James. So let's use an authenticator. I will use Google Authenticator. I'm going to choose to scan a QR code. Now I'm using my camera to point at that, and we've added onto there at the bottom a Teal Holidays James Alty at Apteco.com authenticator entry, and I'm actually just going to delete the previous one of those that I had so that I have just a single one in my authenticator. Now that means I now can type in the code that is currently displaying. It's a 6-digit code. It's meaningless in isolation, but in combination with the system ID that I've just used, it has now let me in. And there are some recovery codes. That's in case I drop my phone in a puddle and it stops working. I can use these, and they're 10 separate codes for 10 separate logins. So if I choose to copy codes, we get a recovery codes copied, note. And if, for example, I just run Notepad, let's just paste those in, so that's my practice set. Let's put a new set in. There they are, 10 recovery codes ready to go. I'll just put those out of sight for now, and we can say we're done, and we are in, and off we go using the system. Except I'm just going to show you now what happens if I log out, and this time I'm going to log in again with my password. And this time, instead of the big dialog, I get a smaller dialog with my cursor conveniently positioned, ready for me to type the code that is being displayed in front of me. I've positioned my phone so it can see my face. It's happily giving me authentication codes live and to the minute. There we go. I've logged in. That's all it takes. Easy. And indeed, if you use something like 1Password, it can complete the password and the authenticator code for you in one go if you enable that. Let's just log out again. This time I'm going to put my phone face down on the desk. I've no longer got access to it. I can fortunately remember my password, but oh dear, I can't generate that code. My phone's at home. Something's happened to it. What can I do? I can use a recovery code. So I go to recovery codes, I go and pick one off the top of my list, and I'm going to cut that so that it's clear that I've used that one already, and I'm going to paste it in there. And that one-time code, you can see I've just pasted in, will let me in just once. I can't use it again. It's there for one-time recovery. So if you lose your phone, you've got 10 logins to go find your phone, get it repaired, whatever it is that you need. Although actually, once you're in, we can do this. We can go over to get into the account settings, and I can have a look at my account. New option here for two-step authentication. We can see that it is currently enabled. I guess if I'd lost my phone, I might be permitted to disable this temporarily so that I can more easily get in. If I lost my recovery codes, I could generate some new recovery codes. Off we go, because I'm in, it's allowed. So I could generate that. So hopefully that's all going to be a nice, easy addition. It will let you tick the box with your IT director to say, yep, Apteco platform, nice and secure. Let's go back here. So having logged in, what are we going to do? Well, we might use Orin, our AI system, and let's just see some of the things that Orin has developed in the last quarter. And these are typically included in our release notes. So, some of you will have read about this and used it. But Orin is now better at detecting that you've asked a question in a different language. So you type a question in German, Orin will respond in German. If you ask Orin to generate a summary, so summarize the dashboard tab, for example, then he will do that in the system language. So in my case, it would be in British English. And British English makes a difference because we use commas for thousand separators and dots for decimal points. Other locales swap those, and Orin throughout will use the regional settings appropriate for your locale. So numbers should be properly recognizable by the recipients of whatever Orin has generated for you. Now, one of the things I'm going to demonstrate is that we have made Orin more powerful and more flexible in the creation of audience criteria. And some of you will know that audiences already have an include and exclude panel. We designed that years ago to try and make it really clear what you were selecting on, filtering on, and what you were excluding. And in the FastStats selection tree, which is hugely powerful, you can end up with an and not or an and not any clause some way deep down that tree, and you then might be considering, have I fully excluded those transactions or people or whatever? Whereas in Orbit, we tried to make it a bit easier. In the audiences, you've got an exclude that is clearly a global exclude. It applies across the board, and we were trying to make audiences simpler. Now, what's happened in the last spring period is that we've now taught Orin how to use the exclude panel, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But we've also taught Orin about dynamic date rules. If you're an experienced Apteco user, you might know that we have powerful rules like this year, last year, the last year, which is a subtle difference, the last financial year, if you've got a different financial year end date, for example. Those are concepts that are built into Apteco. And we now have taught Orin how to use those. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to swap there, just meant to swap slide. There we go. Let's now swap over to the Orbit system. I'll go to the home page just to illustrate that you can do this from anywhere. If you've not used Orin before, he lives in the bottom left-hand corner. You can pop him up, you can swap sides, you can minimize, you can bring him back, you can copy conversations, all those sorts of things. So let's just start with, please create an audience of people who have booked a holiday. This is a holiday database to France and not booked a holiday to Germany. And assuming I've typed that reasonably accurately, let's give it a go. Orin will have a think. He understands the context of the application, knows that we're currently on the home page, and we'll know that we're actually creating an audience. There you go. We've created that audience. Let's just put Orin over here out of the way. Let's, you see, we get a warning to remind us to check our results and work. So we can see that we have an include of destination of France, but there you go. The fundamental point is we've created an exclude panel entry of Germany. So we've achieved what we wanted. Let's do a slightly more powerful one. Please create an audience of people who have been to Germany, France, or the USA in the last quarter. So that's a date rule, but have not got a holiday booked to Sweden in the next year. Let's just say, please get an audience of people who have been to Germany, France, or the USA, spell that right, in the last quarter, but have not got a holiday booked to Sweden in the next year. So a mixture of includes and excludes and different date periods. So Orin is thinking about that and will produce for us a new audience. There we go. He's done that. We can see the warning. Because I had already got, I was already on the audience page and I've got the exclude panel open. That is what we see. It's created a title by default. We didn't tell it how to title recent travellers not booked to Sweden. So here's the not booked to Sweden. You remember I said not got a holiday booked to Sweden in the next year. So we can see destination is Sweden and a linked criteria. Notice the link, it's the same booking, is a booking date this year forward by 1 year. And I'll show you a bit later how we can use these date rules in a new and more powerful manner. So that looks good. Let's look at the include panel. So we can see that we've got a selection on France, Germany, and United States. And the travel date is backwards by 1 quarter. And actually, I'll point out, and I haven't spotted it during my testing, Orin has used a last destination variable, which is not quite the same as looking across all the destinations. And that's why we ask you to make sure that you've checked what is used, and has used a travel date. Whereas my question, yeah, I said people who have been to Germany, France, or the USA. So actually, that is correct. And on the excludes, it said, I said people who have not got a holiday booked. And it just shows how careful you have to be with your language. Oren is a pedant. He's going to look at exactly what you tell him to do, and he'll do exactly that. So apart from the fact that he's used the last destination variable, and I think I would have preferred him to use destination, then that's a nice and powerful selection. Let's do one more just to illustrate how you need to be careful. And we're working on this all of the time, and I'll tell you about some developments in a minute. So the final one, please create an audience of people who have booked a holiday to France and a separate holiday to Germany. And I'm just going to illustrate that we don't always get the splits quite right. And this is no slur on our development team who work all the time on the prompt engineering to drive this. But just really a warning and a caveat to be careful when using it, because this will give a count of 0. In fact, it has. There you go, count of 0. I asked for a separate booking to Germany, but those of you who are familiar with the presentation, you can see the golden linked bar here showing that these two criteria must be met on the same booking. And clearly a booking in our rather simple transaction model for the travel business is only one destination per booking. Clearly in the real travel industry, you've got segments and stays and all sorts. So that's not quite right, is it? We have got a 0. If I choose to edit the values, I can choose to unlink that criteria. So I could say unlink, which will remove the golden linked bar. And now we have people who have both got a destination to France and a destination to Germany. So you can interact with the audiences that Oren creates for you. And we're doing two things that will help Oren get smarter and more tuned to your business. First and imminently, we're going to produce a customer data dictionary tool that will let you upload more details about the tables and variables that you have in your Apteco marketing platform, giving more culture and language and context, if you like, when Oren is processing the descriptive request that you've made and turning that into a logical statement using our API and the logic structures that we've taught Oren about our audience mechanisms, for example. So that's the first thing. The second thing, we are at the moment behind the scenes using OpenAI ChatGPT 4.0 Mini, but that's coming towards end of life. And so we are migrating to a new model. Currently looking at the candidate of OpenAI ChatGPT 5.4, which is smarter. It's slightly more expensive for Apteco to operate, but we expect to be able to deliver better reasoning and results from use of that. And whatever it was, 2.5 years ago, I made the commitment to our customer and partner base that Apteco would take responsibility for providing AI engineering. And that's what we do. We have a team who work on AI all of the time, giving you the mechanics to use latest technology on your Apteco marketing platform data, therefore your customer and prospective customer or supporter data. We will keep working on that and keep giving you more power as we go. But I hope you can see that's a step forward from where we were previously. Right, let's just look at some Orbit topics. We some time ago changed the dashboard technology, so we introduced the floating selection mechanism on dashboard tiles so that you could always move that selection interface out of the way. It's like a bubble that floats. You've got the four-headed arrow at the left-hand side that lets you position that out of the way of the visualization and categories that you wish to interact with. What's new is that the ellipsis where you action the filtering has now got an exclude function as well as an include function, or the add to filter or exclude from filter, making it easier to, in some circumstances, express what is required. Previously, if you wanted the whole of your product range apart from kids categories, for example, you would have to go and select all of the other categories and leave out the kids products from your analysis. Now you could say exclude kids categories, or exclude cheese or apples or pears or whatever it is that you are selecting on. So that makes the ability to exclude, to express your selection through excludes rather more effective and efficient. I'll show you that in a minute. Now, this is one that we slightly missed in our documentation, and I stumbled on it this week as I was working on something else. But I thought it's worth highlighting that our date selection mechanism in Orbit is actually a bit more powerful than it perhaps first appears, in that you can have multiple separate date range type specifications in a single clause using different types of rules. So I'll show you in a minute how we can use fixed dates. In this case, I had done Christmas Day and Boxing Day as fixed dates. How you can use dynamic ranges, those are the built-in ranges, something like the last year, for example, and custom ranges where you can do any pattern that you wish. Now, all of those can work together, and I'm going to show you how, and I'm going to show you one change that we're going to make to the user interface as a result of thinking about the use of these dates. In the campaign area, we have now got the A/B testing fully released. I've demoed that before. It was in preview for some time. It's now fully released, so you can create flows as you see on the screen image with a split to get version A, or A and B and C and D and E and whatever, actually up to E, and maintain different variants, and then see the results of the variants, and then manually choose which of those variants you wish to roll out. We don't at present make an automated decision for you. We present, as you can see, a number of metrics on emails for clicks and opens and unsubscribes, and this mechanism only currently works on email. It doesn't matter whether it's Apteco email or other external email vendors, email service providers. We can provide this mechanism as a layer on top of their tools for delivery, and we'll measure the responses. Two things to come in time: the automated decision rather than a manual implementation of the decision, and also expanding to other channels. Now, those are things that are in our wish list and backlog. If they're important to you, perhaps you'd be good enough to vote for them in the wish list if you're interested. We are always prioritizing many different topics. Excuse me. So, excuse me. A/B testing now available. We also have a new mechanism to hold participants in a campaign journey. So if you have a campaign journey that flows through a main flow but has triggered events, remember we support triggered events, which will be partial journey elements that are executed when a particular event occurs. So somebody buys something, subscribes to something, donates, visits a web page, all those types of things, then you can run a triggered event. And this mechanism allows you to hold participants typically at a position in the main campaign flow where they are still part of that campaign. They will still get the triggered events. They're not exited and will therefore not be valid to resume from the beginning of the campaign, but they can pick up triggered events that you are still monitoring and triggering for recipients. So look for that in the final step of a campaign or a campaign branch, where you can choose to hold a participant rather than exit from the campaign. And one that I will just show you in the application, you can now define constraints on your Orbit campaign folders, which are equivalent to PeopleStage areas, and which allow you to define constraints in two manners. You can put a volume constraint on, or you can put a contact strategy constraint on. I'll show you how you can do both. In fact, you can have multiple contact strategy constraints, so you could have different constraints, for example, constraining the number of emails per day and the number of phone calls per month, for example. And you can define down by channel to give compliance to your privacy policy or your marketing statement directly on the folders. And it's a really nice, easy way to implement that. And if you follow the link, you can see the teal text here. Follow that link. The Help Hub will tell you about the sequence in which constraints are applied from the inner aspects of the campaign through the campaign up to the folder it contains and the folder that contains that. So you can see how constraints will apply all the way down the hierarchy. For those of you using PeopleStage, the pool journey, which is one of the ways that you control how people flow around a campaign, and remember, it's the same fundamental flow mechanism behind the scenes, whether you're using Orbit campaign or the PeopleStage application. It's the same fundamental mechanism. So you can now choose to select for people who have been in a pool less than or equal to a specified time period, so that, they wait for up to a week, or those that have been in more than a week. So you have a different choice of how to trigger. And I think you can imagine there are scenarios in marketing planning where you want to do each of those, and it's a result of feedback on that we've developed this capability. Incidentally, we have a feature development running over several months to improve Orbit campaign display of PeopleStage campaigns. There are some things that PeopleStage does that Orbit campaign does not do, or does not do yet, and we're improving how many and what proportion of your Orbit campaigns, your PeopleStage campaigns can be displayed in Orbit, some of which will contain elements that are not yet editable in Orbit. We're minimizing those all of the time, but we want to give you sight of it. And I think I joked in the last webinar that an easy way to use Orbit campaign and get started is to give it for the people who approve your campaigns. They don't need the big heavyweight PeopleStage application any longer. You can use a browser on a low-scale device, find the campaign and approve the delivery with all the same mechanisms as approval in PeopleStage, where you can view a sample of the data, for example. So that's that. Let's just go have a look at Orbit. We left it here. Let's just go back to a dashboard, and I've got my default dashboard here. I'm just going to turn on the filter panel so that you can see what we're doing, and I'm going to use a tile up here. I hope you're all familiar with tiles and interactions on tiles, but we're just going to experiment or explore the pop-up filter menu. So I've clicked on USA, leftmost item, and you can see that I have got three options: add to filter, exclusion filter, or drill down. And in this case, I'm specifically going to go for the drill down because I want to just show you how some of that works. So this is now showing the data within the USA. I'm going to choose the product category, and you can see in here that I have the choice to add to filter, and I can say that I would like to add these bookings. Now, the reason there are two options here, I'll show you. These bookings pick the records, the bookings that are in the USA and our package holiday. So it's following the whole route of how I got to this highlighted item. So let's say I'm going to choose these bookings. And I realize actually maybe I should have started with a simpler include and exclude, which perhaps you'll build up the knowledge as we go. Here you can see I've now got both United States and package holiday, and of course if I come out of the drill down criteria, we've just got United States in there. Let's just reset our filter, and we're back to where we were before. This time I'll choose United States. I'm going to drill down again and choose package holiday, and this time I'm going to say that I want to add just the product criteria. So in some way on this tile I've navigated, so I'm looking at this variable, which is the product. I've chosen package holidays, and so I'm now going to pick the product. So you can see this time it's only added one clause, it's just the product. And if I come out of the drill down, we can see I've still got all of the destinations. So we happen to drill in through United States. We haven't used that as part of our criteria. We've gone just for the inner detail of the product. We've got a selection on product, so all of these counts are now just for bookings that are product only, package tour only product, and that's a subtle difference, and why we have those two options there. Let me just reset that again, and I'll show you a further example. This time let's pick United States, and I'm going to drill down once again, and this time I'm going to say package holiday, but I am going to exclude from the filter, and I've got the same choices. I can just exclude product of package holiday, or I can exclude these particular bookings. Think carefully about what we've done so far. We've chosen the United States, but we want to exclude package holidays. And that's exactly what we will see in the filter panel on the right-hand side. We've now got a criteria that says it is any of the United States, any destination, in this case, United States. So that's still an include, but we've excluded the package holiday. That's given the effect of excluding package holidays in the United States, which is what we were prompted to do. And as I said, I realized I went into the detail. Let's just choose a simpler variable. So in this case, we'll choose the source of profit variable, the source of profit visualization. And this time you can see I just get add to filter and exclude from filter. So I can add website to the criteria, or I can exclude. So let's exclude the source. You can see we've excluded bookings to a certain source, and if I just wait for it to update, obviously lots of data in there. Let's just use the top level of this criteria. I could exclude Australia, so we'll choose to exclude destination, and you can see that it's grouped together because it's an exclude. If I then said I wanted to include, for example, let's choose something else. So we'll choose something by date, for example, and I say let's pick to add to filter booking date. You can see the booking date is listed afterwards. So the excludes are grouped together, the includes are listed separately. So it makes the ability to express what you want from a dashboard a bit more efficient, a bit more powerful. And as I've shown you, where you have drill downs, you have the choice, as you've had for some years. I've just chosen to illustrate it today. You have the ability to control whether you're using the whole path that you use to that drill down. You can have multiple layers, 5 layers down. You could have all the criteria on your 5 steps to reach this point, and choose to exclude just these records that are selected by those 5 steps, or having drilled all the way down there, apply a global include or exclude based on that particular topic, that particular category. Let's do a different and hopefully equally useful selection. We'll go to an audience. I'm going to create a new audience, and we'll do some example date ranges. And let's choose, in this case, to pick bookings, and I'm going to add a filter. I'm going to select on booking date, and by default, you can see the first of 3 different types of rule. a fixed date. So let's say we'll select Christmas Day. It's a nice easy one, 2025 through to Christmas Day, 25th of the 12th. I can type probably 2025. Can't type 25th of the 12th. There you go. So we've now got a single date criteria. It could be a range, you know, Christmas Day and Boxing Day. The lesson I just want to illustrate it, although we call this edit values, it's actually add range, and we're going to change that label, because if I wish to edit this, I click on it and that will take me back to the fixed date for Christmas Day. If I choose the button over here, I can add another criteria, another range. In this case, let's do the last year, for example. It's built-in criteria. So now we've got two different ranges, one of which is a single day, one of which is a whole year. Let's add another one. We'll do a custom rule. So we could do today, not adjusted in any way, through to today forward by 2 months, for example. And in fact, let's just do it by 1 month, just for illustration purposes. And that has given us 400,000 records. I'm actually, having thought about it, I'm going to change this one to the last month, and I'll explain why in a minute. So now we've got Christmas Day because it's a special holiday. I've got the last month, and I've got a custom rule that's selecting, in effect, the next month, or let's make it even more interesting, the next week. And why did I tune those? Because now I can go into a cube and look at the dates that we have selected, and I'm going to choose to do a cube. I'm going to add a simple dimension, and on that dimension I'm going to have the booking date, which is what I selected on, and I wanted to show me the full date, which is here. And because I practiced earlier, I know that on the data settings, actually get the right place, I want to turn off the display of zeros. And there we go. We can see that my date ranges are 25th of the 12th, 25, Christmas Day. The last month, it is the 30th of June. We got a selection from the 30th of May through to the 30th of June. And the next week, 1st to the 7th of July. So that's a mechanism where you can have multiple separate ranges. Click an individual range on the text to edit it, click the X to remove it, and click the edit values, which we're going to relabel as add values or add ranges, to put a new range in. When you click edit values, it will default to a fixed date of 1 day, which is today. Okay, hopefully that is helpful. I think I've only got one more thing to show you in here, and then we're off to FastStats, and that is in campaigns. We can now put constraints on. So if I choose to edit constraints on the email area, I can create different types of constraints. So I could say maximum of 10,000 records per 1 week, for example. So that's a volume constraint. I'm limiting how much in total the campaigns in this area can produce. I could add, and there's only one of those for the whole area, I could add multiple contact strategy constraints. So I could say, when considering people, I could say a maximum of 1 communication via email, using any email provider, per day. Easy as that. And that will apply across the whole of your campaigns in that area. And if I wanted to, I could have a separate constraint, contact constraint 2, which is for people receives a maximum of 1, let's say, communication via, and we could say in this case direct mail every month. So we limit it like that, and that constraint is now applied onto here, and we have a warning or a flag that will come up that will show us that constraints are in place on that campaign. Sorry, on that campaign folder. Hopefully you agree that's an easy way to do it. And folders within folders, campaigns within folders, all of those tie together. So it will hopefully produce a powerful mechanism for you. Right, well, I'm just aware of the time. Let's drop back here. And a couple of things in FastStats. We've made quite a fundamental improvement to the FastStats selection ability. You can now refer to a selection that's saved rather than embedding it. So that allows you to refer to a selection on the day you create the criteria. And then if the selection you're referring to is itself changed, that change criteria will be picked up. In all time since we invented FastStats, when you drag one selection into another, it embedded it as it stands now. What we've done here is allow you to reference what's saved on the disk, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. And it's a really powerful mechanism. It means you can have your definition of your marketable record set, your VIPs, your stop list, your, I don't know, deliverable area, whatever. They can all be defined in central building block selections that are used by reference, and then you just go and change it in one place, and everywhere that references it gets the benefit. We've also extended pattern matching so that you can now refer to time periods, and those time periods are relative time periods, but it allows you, for example, to look for a pattern within a certain time. Let's see if I can make time to demo that. I'm not going to demo behavioral modeling, but it has gained the ability to look at both the presence and now the absence of activity or event. So looking at these pictures at the top, you can choose people who made a booking to a certain destination and then did another action. So we're taking the current reference date, which could be the campaign date, looking back a period, in this case a year, finding a booking, and then looking from that booking date forward to see if there was some other activity, in this case in red, an insurance policy. You can now do the same sort of thing, looking back from the reference date a certain period, find an event for that particular person, and then look at the time period following that to see if there's an absence. So that's no further activity. Or you could take it further and say, from the reference date, so the dotted line, look back for a period, find a gap, so absence, and then find following that gap another booking, so a reactivation type process. Or you could find people who had communication rather than a transaction, then a gap, and then later took the action that communication encourages. So you could look for delayed type responses. And to help you understand that, when you've made a selection, we now have extended the data grid tool in FastStats to allow you to specify more controls over what to look at specifically in the behavioral modeling scenario, where you can now control, for example, how many analysis and non-analysis records are displayed, how to add the variables to make sure you're showing all the variables that you're using in your behavioral modeling features. You can set the result table and you can apply filters. It just makes it easier for you to use to check. So let's go and have a look. And actually, I don't need all of it. What I need is my start menu and my FastStats icon. Because guess what? We set up multi-factor authentication half an hour ago, and FastStats, let's bring it to the front. Come on, is doing the launcher, downloading the libraries. There we go. Checking that we've got the current libraries, and I am then going to log in, and I'm going to need my phone again. So let's just open that up, and we'll go to my authenticator. Because I now type password, which actually I mistyped, and we get a new dialog on FastStats, which is going to show me a request for an authentication code. Mouse and cursor is already in there, so I can just type the code that is shown on my authenticator. Menu is on its own, important for getting into my FastStats system. So we administrated the multi-factor authentication on Orbit, but we actually used it on the FastStats system as well. And I've just realised I haven't printed my notes for this part of the demo, so I'm going to wing it. Let's see, we'll get in here, and we are going to just do a little bit of pattern matching. In fact, I'll do the variables by reference, because sorry, selections by reference. I think that's more important. And then I'm going to drop back and just show you some forthcoming events. So in my file system, I have already saved into my FastStats folders, into my public folder, into my freshly shipped area. I've got a target roles. That target roles selection is very, very simple. It's picking three different roles: directors, managers, and professionals. If I now start our new selection, I could go and say I want certain income bands, for example. It's a classic demo data set from Apteco. It doesn't matter in this case. I'll choose some of those income bands, but I can go to my file system. Even though I've got this open in a window, what matters is where it is stored on my public folders. I've right dragged that, drop it, and we get an awful lot of choices nowadays. So your default would be an and between the criteria you've got and what's in the saved selection. Alternatively, you can do an or. In each of those, you can go up and down via the other tables in the system. But the new element is we can reference this saved file. So if I say and this person is referenced, we're now going to get a count of how many we have selected. 47,000. Now, if I go and change the reference file, what do you think happens? So let's add a new role. If I go back and force this to recount, nothing changes because it's what's saved on the disk that matters. So if I go back now and say I want to save this, we've written it back onto the disk. Now, if I force this, incidentally, notice that initially it doesn't think it needs to do anything because it's not seeing anything change. But I can force it to count, and 47,000 became 73,000. So when you're using reference criteria, if you make a change, make sure you save those reference criteria. It'll be the saved version that is then referenced every time this is run. And in this case, I was forcing it to run by using rebuild all pages. Right, I don't have time to do the pattern match. There's a great help article that shows how to select people who've been to the USA twice within a 6-month period, and then again twice within another 6-month period. But I'm out of time, so let's just go back here. Right, I believe Mel has a quick poll for us in the last 2 minutes that we have on which of those features are useful to you. It is multi-response. So you can take whichever of those are useful. At least I think it's multi-response. So we'll give you a minute just to pick off. Is MFA useful? Is Orin exclusion dates? Is filter by exclusions on dashboards? Is the more powerful data selections, the campaign constraints, the selections by reference, or the pattern match, which I didn't have time to demo in the end? Which of those is useful? So once Mel is ready, she can show us that result, I think. If not, I'm going to rattle on. Okay, I haven't seen that. Perhaps you have, but thank you if you managed to click some of those. Hopefully one or more of those are useful too. So a few things to talk about upcoming events. Right, celebrating 20 years of data insights and discovery, I'm delighted to announce Apteco Live 2026 will be held at the Royal Institution in the centre of London on Thursday, the 12th of November. Please save the date. We look forward to welcoming you to a fantastic historic venue. We used it maybe 15 years ago as a venue. We're going back to the same space, which hopefully you will enjoy. The PDF has got details linking to the page with more information. We have a fantastic keynote speaker, but you're going to have to wait before we tell you about that. We will, at that venue on that day, present the best use of Apteco awards. The awards are now open. Again, there's a link there if you want to participate. If you're an Apteco partner or an Apteco customer, join us to celebrate best use of the Apteco platform. If you are an Apteco partner, we also invite you to a briefing, an update on Thursday, the 5th of November, fireworks night, and there will be fireworks as we talk about what is going on in the Apteco space and our new developments, our roadmap, our plan. Those of you who are partners, some of you will be in our office this week for the Apteco Partner Advisory Board. We ask our partners to advise us what we should work on. Remember, you can try our software for free. Not only can you use the Instant Insight service if you're a charity with the donation data, the privacy safe 3-column donation field will give you 50 different results from those 3 columns. It's amazing. But you can also bring your own data, connect your own Salesforce, or use our demo data. And then a little bit about our future plans. I've told you before, you can participate, put ideas in, look at our roadmap, see what's new, and look at the milestones. But coming up soon, the ability, for example, to export data directly from a data grid tile on a dashboard. Who needs audiences? Who needs export templates when your dashboard designer has set up the template for you? What about scheduled export, so that you can run an audience and schedule it to export regularly to a particular destination, like an FTP site or an S3 bucket? We've only got FTP sites to start with. What about the ability to do custom variables, what used to be called virtual variables? We're now going to introduce those in Orbit, so you can do data import with multiple columns imported in a single pass, or combine audiences, what used to be called create and update wizard. You can now do that in Orbit, and so on. I don't have time to talk about it. You can visit our roadmap anytime you like. Log into apteco.com, go to the portal, look at the roadmap. It's live. It's connected to our DevOps platform that shows how we're doing developing all of these fantastic things. And in fact, there you go, some of the things that are coming. We also have a new mechanism called behaviors, which implement recency, frequency, and value throughout Orbit. You can now look at how frequently a particular filtered record type occurs in your data. So you could say, you know, how many times has someone bought apples or pears? You can do it without needing to create a virtual variable. You can do it directly in the places that you do selections across Orbit. Same with custom variables, I mentioned them, data dictionary for AI, and viewing unsupported campaigns in Orbit. And I'm going to finish with another poll from Mel, just to see whether this has been a useful hour and 3 minutes. I apologize for the 3 minutes. I knew I was going to have to talk fast today, but let's see how you found that session. Hopefully useful. I'll give you a moment or two just to complete that without delaying us. Hopefully it was a useful hour, and when Mel has finished, I will assume we'll either see that or we won't. Thank you very much, Mel. And I can't see the result because I closed the window, so perhaps you can see it. Let's just go on because we're over time. All I need to do now is say thank you. I'm James Alty, founder and MD of Apteco. Hope that's been a useful hour and 4 minutes. That's the end of our spring update, freshly shipped to you.